Hi everyone, my name is Lucy, and just to start off where, I met everyone here, we started off at phase 1, and by then I had already acquired my bachelor's in science and biology, and what was on my mind was graduate school. I had told a few of you that I was applying, but that was kind of still up in the air because I needed to secure funding for that first. So it turns out that right after AGU, I found out that I was awarded a NOAA ECSC fellowship, and so that would cover my tuition. And I ended up moving to Corpus Christi, Texas, to attend Texas A&M University to pursue my master's in environmental science with a policy and human dimensions emphasis. And so at Texas A&M, I'm working with the Hart Research Institute for Gulf of Mexico Studies. But just to go back a little bit, I initially got here I always say thanks to Dr. Gerald, who told me about the program, and then I applied. So I really started off, at the Woods Hole Marine Policy Center. And then my next internship experience was my experience at the NASA, at one of the NASA facilities. It was out in Palmdale, but then it was based out of UC Irvine. And that was a airborne research program where I got to fly in one of the NASA P-3 planes. And those are the planes that they use to do like remote sensing, and they have different instruments in there. So that was my next big internship after Woods Hole. So I had moved out to Texas, and I was just there for a semester because I started in January. So from January to May I was in Corpus, and then I shipped out and I did this internship out in California. So that was my summer experience. And then I went back to Texas A&M, and I am looking at water policy. So I said I was working with the Hart Research Institute for Gulf of Mexico Studies. So I'm working underneath the policy endowed chair there. And so for my thesis, I'm looking at Texas water policy and specific freshwater inflows to bays and estuaries. And let's see, I'm actually going to use a United Nations spiral model to analyze the Senate Bill 3 process that they have right now. So I just had a committee meeting before coming here on Friday, and I was just, very anxious because that was the meeting where I was going to tell them how I was going to approach the thesis and what my methods were. And I had already put in so much work into it, doing all the literature review, and I had started typing the proposal, so it was kind of like, they had to approve, because if not, I don't know what would have happened. And so they did approve, and they liked the model that I'm using for analyzing this bill. So I'm using a United Nations spiral model, and I'm going to overlay it with the Texas policy and see how the two compare to do a gap analysis. So so I was very happy about that. And I also realized how important water is in a recent trip I did to New Mexico. That was through the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and I actually got to see the Rio Grande. And I found out that I know that Texas sued New Mexico for water, and I go to New Mexico and I find out that New Mexico doesn't have water either. They have tribal communities there that are suing the state because they say you owe us water. So it's kind of this pointing finger scenario where New Mexico looks at Colorado, and the Colorado is like, well, we can't do anything about it because the ice sheets are melting later, and it just goes back to global warming. And so I find it very fascinating, and so I enjoy looking at water policies, and that's why I'm doing that for my thesis. I've kind of been trying to keep my head on because I've been traveling quite a bit. I had been in Arkansas for a while for another fisheries agency conference, and I've been also trying to apply to fellowships because I'm getting ready to graduate now. I just need to do the project, type the paper, and I finish come, this December. So I applied to a AMS summer policy colloquium that I found out from phase 2, where I was with Derica, so we became good buddies. And I also applied to the Canals Fellowship, which I would take up after graduating come December. And so I actually had the interview for that this past Wednesday. So I applied to my, Texas Sea Grant office, and they did contact me, and I had an interview with the program coordinator. So let's see how that goes. But that's pretty much what I've been doing so far, and now you kind of know what I'm heading for, because if I get the canals, I would graduate in December, and then that would be me being in DC for a year. So let's see what happens.
Thank you.